Yo, what up guys, it's Renan, and I'm going to review a VOD from a Diamond player, and I've already watched it through. I know the second half there was an AFK, so I'm not going to review that part of it. So I'm going to review your attack half, and I did already write some notes for you, and I'm just going to kind of show you what they are right now, and then, you know, when the time comes, you can look at the... we can go through it during the VOD of each one of these things that I wrote down. So just to keep note, and this can apply to anybody who's probably below like high immortal, maybe even radiant, is that when you're attacking, it's important to not get lazy with your crosshair placement, with your movement, with peeking angles and trading your team and all this stuff. I feel like it can kind of get lost when you're playing the game, that you need to be really methodical, and you can watch pro players play and they are extremely methodical, like Ye, Cryo. They're very methodical players where when you watch them, they're going to be slicing the pie, putting their crosshair in optimal positions, knowing correct pathing to attack a site to kind of isolate a lot of angles and not get shot in the back. Hopefully they're going to be using their utility. They're not going to be taking the bomb if they're duelist, and so on and so forth. So we're going to keep those in mind when we go into this VOD, but yeah, we can go ahead and watch it and just keep in mind everything I said, and we can see where you could do better. So let's go ahead and take a look at your attack half. All right, right off rip, see how you do. Peek that little corner. I mean, you hold it for too long. I would just push forward, to be honest. You need to clear close. You need, yeah, perfect. Fortunately, your team died. I do think here you kind of rushed peeking it. If there was somebody here, you probably just die. I probably would have cleared it a little bit better. Yeah. Okay, I remember now. So when you push, right, you already know they're ready. There's probably one more here, right? They're most likely going to be on the right side here, but they could be behind yellow. So when you run by, you could have just gotten killed right here. I would peek behind you, behind the little yellow box before you push, just in order to clear it for your team, because you don't want to be that duelist that runs onto site and gets your entire team killed because you're not clearing corners. So yeah, I would do that. And then when you peek this, right, your gun isn't even out. Oh man, it's kind of hard on YouTube. But yeah, your gun isn't even out until you're already peeking. So your gun, you can see the animation is about to finish. Now, if you're in a higher tier lobby, this guy might have already have killed you. I think your jet is thankfully helping you. But yeah, you just die for free. When you're clearing, I want you to be very methodical. You should be pushing this corner and then have your gun out. Don't freaking not have your gun out here. That or slide. If you slide, it's okay, but because you're not, it isn't okay. And then you want to have good crosshair placement, good movement. That way you're not just kind of panicking, peeking without your gun and just dying for free. Okay. And if I remember correctly, there's a pad in here. But it's important to note, now that you're kind of defaulting a little bit and you're kind of lurking, look at how clean you are with how you're clearing this, right? You cleared that. You're peeking this, you peek it correctly, boom, you get a kill because you peeked that correctly. You're peeking it methodically, smoothly, and you want to do the same thing you just did right there, just when you're fast pushing. You can do the same thing when you're pushing. You're just holding, you know, you're doing it more quickly. Now, if I were you, I would think, okay, there's probably a player pushing up with that dog. You do not want to be holding W. You probably want to be holding D and moving to the right. That way you can counter strafe easily, and you put a little distance from yourself because they bought up here and you know they probably have a Stinger or a Spectre. You don't want to be this close. I'd be kind of far away with a Sheriff, and you could just kill the people with Spectres. Yeah, like I just said, yeah, they're going to just run and get you. I like you were methodical though. I like that you were methodical. You weren't over pushing. Your crosshair placement there was fine. Though, if you know they're probably going to push you, hold D. You want to be holding D or A, not W. This counter strafing while holding W is way harder. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Enemy remaining. Now, the only problem here is you have bomb.
Behind.
I guess you get your ultimate, but I would never have the bomb if you're Neon, because you're going to be running in, and if you die, you're basically giving the enemy team the bomb, and then your team has to retake for the bomb.
74.
Now, yeah, you're holding W. He heard you, right? He heard you. Now, if I'm here, if I'm you, I'm holding D, and I'm peeking this quickly. I'm not holding shift. I'm kind of pressing D and quietly peeking, but with full momentum. Because when you're holding shift and W, you're such an easy target to kill here, and he should have heard you. And if I were him, I would have been holding it, knowing that you were going to peek and gotten the free kill. And then once he got the kill on you, he could have killed your KO easily. So you got to play that a little bit smarter against better players, in my opinion. Knowing that they have audio on you, they're likely going to be holding you or peeking you. You didn't clear on top of the tube behind you, or the box behind you. You didn't. Okay, there. You kind of half-ass clear it. I want you to be peeking your corners better and clearing the actual site. Because when you... A couple issues here. I want you, as entry, to be clearing the corners, because if you don't clear them, your team might assume that you've cleared them because they trust you as a teammate, and then they'd be making a bad assumption, and you're going to get your team killed in a lot of situations by playing how you are. You need to be, you kind of half-ass peeked it. I want you to be peeking everything as if there is a person there, 1. And 2, when you're entering, I want you to peek every corner. Now this is fine. I probably would have slid here, knowing that they are most likely going to be holding you right here, but you still got the kill, and that's all well and good. Now you're overheating, okay? You're low, you have a Sage, ask him, hey, can you heal me, heal me, heal me, before you push. Wait in this corner, or wait in this corner, get your heal, and wait. Right? You have a lot of ult charge. You do not need to be rushing here. You can get a heal. You should be calming it. And your Sage is on top of it, healing when you could, and then you decide to peek with like 1 HP. Now, this could have entirely been different. 1, if you waited for the heal, because you have a lot of time, wait for the heal to full heal you, and then peek this properly, and you might still get die, but there's a good chance that you get it. And you also said all here. You only saw 3. That is a bad comm. You can get your team killed again. But now let's go ahead and skip forward. Let's see how you do here. You always hold this, and you know that they're not peeking it. So if I were you, I would not. I'd kind of peek that later. You know you're just dashing up here. And if you just would have peeked out quicker here when your Jet pushed out, you could have you probably would have killed the Reyna before he killed your Jet. But because you're kind of slow every time you push B and you peek that corner, you're kind of risking your team peeking and dying like you just did. Yeah, he's getting mad at you.
Stop making noise.
I wouldn't be mad like him. But yeah, he is right. I think you should just peek that corner you're peeking later. That way you can save your teammate if he peeks. Let's go ahead and... Oh. Yeah, and here, you're in a... Okay, what... If I were to ask you the question of, in what universe do you lose this round? And the only way you lose is if you guys take 3 1v1s, right? So what are you doing here? You're kind of overheating. You're playing a 1v1. Now, if you don't care about your rank and you just want to kind of get into 1v1s and practice your mechanics, then okay, you do whatever. But if you want to maximize your potential of winning, then you want to be playing with your team here, because they can't trade you here, and then you die for free. And you see they're playing together. Now that they know where Ray's at, look, they're stacked on top of each other. That way, they're not taking a 1v1, they're going to trade each other. Okay, it was a little bit late, but boom. That's what you want to happen. One of you takes contact, and then the others peek and get the free and the kill, the trade. Never allowing the Rays to ever have a real chance of winning the round. Let's see what you do here. You peek that corner again, but yeah, you peeked it quicker. I like that better. If you're going to peek it quicker, because you peek that. Okay, that's fine. Ooh, now you're... I guess Jet is already ahead of you. That's fine. Peeking that corner. Peeking that. Okay. I like what where your head is at. This is kind of how I want you to always be clearing. I like how cautious you are. You're kind of peeking, holding. But here's another thing, right? We talked about the only way you lose in the round before. Now, if I were to ask you, what is the only way you lose a round when they're saving and they have things like a stinger, a frenzy, a judge, Bucky, like really bad guns? The only way you can lose is by playing really aggressive and allowing them to push you with their short range guns and killing you, and then taking your gun and then retaking and killing your team with the gun that you gave them. That is the only way you lose here, right? So the way you're positioning is really bad in my opinion. Now the Brim smoke is even worse. Like, it basically, his smoke allows them to push into the smoke and then kill him for free while in the smoke. Now, which is terrible, and I think that might have been the reason why you're like, frick, I gotta push into the smoke to prevent my teammate from getting killed while planning. But honestly, I would spam the smoke and kill them if they trade the kill, because they still won't have a gun if they kill Brim, and it'll still be even. Let's see what you do here. So you're kind of risky. Now, if that guy had better crosshair placement, you just die, I think. Okay, you get 2. But now, let's look what happens here now. You're in a 3v3. Raise his ultimate, he can get a kill. There's one, they already have one gun, another person's gonna get a second gun, and they have Raise ult. So let's say right now, Raise will use their ultimate to get a kill, and the other two have guns. This is a completely losable round because of how you played it. Gun here. And look at your KO too. Your KO's really far forward, and he's just dead. Exact thing that I didn't want you to do is get aggressive like that and throw the round for your team. That's kind of why. I raised. Should have killed your Brim. In this round.
Yellow.
Really, really, really close when it didn't have to be. Okay, now if I were you, I would jump from here using your E to jump on the pipe. The problem with peeking from this angle is that they can peek you from a ton of different angles, and if you peek and don't get a kill and you try to peek back behind cover, they'll just wallbang you and kill you. So I think you should always go pipe. Peeking here is like a death sentence early, because you can just get it spammed. You didn't peek right. I don't know. The reason also why you go pipe is that you can peek the right side and kind of clear it before you take the rope to push in, because right now, if there was a person hiding in this right corner, none of your teammate cleared it. Like, now a Sage is clearing it, but both of you kind of push forward. You could have been killed, and then your Sage could have been killed. If you go pipe, you can kind of clear that corner before you take the rope, making it a lot more effective. And you shouldn't have the bomb. Why shouldn't you have the bomb? Well, one, you're the duelist and you should be trading your other duelist, and because you're aggressive and you have the utility to push onto site, look at your other teammates here. Jett is pushing, and if you didn't have bomb, you could trade him, and then your Sage and whoever could push up with the bomb. But here, now that your teammates are kind of split up, they can kill you for free because you're planning. They're going to kill your Jett, then they can kill you, and you both drop the bomb, and they can't trade you. It's just battle around. Don't take the bomb if you're playing Neon. Give it to your other players that just drop it. Like, if they're not taking it, just throw it on the ground and let your teammates deal with it, because you need to be pushing to trade your Jett. Because, yeah, look, you probably could have traded him and made it a 1-for-1, but now you can't. Now let's see what happens here. Yeah, it's all hell's breaking loose right now. You have a wall here too. You can probably wall behind you to try to fake them out, and they don't know where you're at for one, and it kind of blocks off vision from rafters so they can't peek it. Okay. Let's take a look. Shoot, both of your teammates died. Ooh. I don't know why you decided to dash in here, because you know they're both on the right. You need to be playing and offing, like maybe like closer to the box and take a 1v1 fight. Because say the Jett peeked you, the Reyna was not prepared to trade him. So you probably could have taken 2 1v1s here if you played it more methodical. because you know he's in a Z, right? So if you hold a little bit tighter to the left and hold for the Jet to peek you, you can probably kill him before the Reyna has time to get out of her E, pull out her gun, and then peek out. But instead, you like dash into them and die. You need to be a little bit more methodical.
Spike dropped. Spike.
Yeah.
Here.
And also, another big thing I notice is that you don't really use your wall or your utility that well or often. So one rule of thumb is basically if you're going to, if you have a full buy, then try to use all your util every single round until you get better at using it and knowing when and how to. Because I'm not a Neon player, one, and you could look up guides on how they use their Q and their wall to take a site, which is part of the reason why a good Neon can be really, really scary, because she can get onto site really quick, isolate a lot of angles with her wall, and concuss a lot of angles that you might want to play if you're defending. She concusses it, basically runs up to you and gets a free kill. It's really important as a Neon that you know how to use your utility if you're going to take a site. Because her wall kind of acts as, you know when a Jet will dash into her smoke onto site? She creates a lot of pressure because she can peek out of the smoke at any angle, and your team doesn't know whether to look at the Jet or to look at the team pushing out of the, you know, out of A main or B main, whatever map you're playing. They don't know where to look, and you can kind of exploit that as a Jet player. So when you're playing Neon, you can kind of get away with that with your wall. You put the wall up, and their enemy teams are not going to know where you're going to peek out of it. If you're going to even pushing through it, there's a lot of mind games you can do with a wall. So I want you to be using all your utility to push, because your attack cap will be a lot better. Yeah, like you held for it. Nice. You're being methodical. Look at how methodical you're playing when your team is defaulting. You can play like this even when you're 5-manning.
2 more here. We should go B. We should go B.
So you're fine.
Out of charges.
I just want you to play like this like every round. You can go a little quicker, but you should always be playing very
Yeah, go B,
methodically.
go B.
You guys are rotating. This is all well and good. Okay. Kind of saw into the future there. What's going to happen? Ooh, yeah. And you remember when I told you if you're the Duelist, you want to be peeking every corner because you can bait your team into dying? Look at what happened. Basically, your Jet and the Sage were the two in front, and you put your trust in them that they cleared everything and they took back the space that they gave up earlier, but they didn't, and then they all died. And this is what you could be doing to your team, which just happened to you because of how you're peeking and how you're not clearing site properly. Yeah, now you can kind of feel. Now you can kind of feel what happens when, you know, the Duelist or whoever's entering doesn't clear. Yeah, UK is pissed off, but you do the same thing. Don't get it twisted. Your teammates did it to you, but you did it a lot of rounds too. So if you're gonna be entry, make sure to clear. Okay, let's take a look at what just happened here. Kind of 3-1-1 split. From got a peek. Okay. If I were you. Okay. You know there are 2A. You have a lurk up B, and you have a free gun on B main. If I were you, I'd be thinking, okay, just go B. Just go B. Let Sage work. We don't have to push this. We don't have guns. I have ultimate. KO, we're going to go grab you the gun B main, and then we're going to take B, and then we can play post with my ult. And all of a sudden, you probably win the round because they have no idea Sage is here up in their freaking back line. They probably over-rotated because it's, you know, Diamond League or Diamond Rank. There's probably 2, maybe 3 here already, maybe 1 rotating from B to A. So yeah, you should be automatically looking at your minimap here and being like, assessing the situation, be like, no, we go B. Grab bomb and go B. Grab bomb and go B. Now it's a bit too late because you didn't recognize that. But now let's look at the situation. Now you have a Sheriff, you have your ultimate, you have all your utility. There's probably 3 on A, but that's fine because you have a Sage lurking. Now, if I were you, an Immortal, I'd be thinking, okay, let's make a lot of noise A main and let Sage work. Okay? And the main idea is they're all going to be focusing their attention on you. They're going to be thinking, okay, crap, there's like a lot A main, and lower elo, they're probably not even thinking about the flank right now. So you just make a lot of noise and don't commit to any fight. You just make a lot of noise, maybe burn 1 Q, and wait. Wait for your Sage to live. What you don't want to do is take a long range fight when he has like a headshot glitch on you, kind of, and with a sheriff. You should be hiding now. You should be hiding. Definitely do not repeat. Yeah, you headshot him, but you have a sheriff, and you die. Now what's gonna happen? They might look at the flank now.
Jet 150, 150.
And then your Sage whiffed and died. But this is kind of your fault. As a duelist, you could have, or as a player, you could have just calmed to your team. What the plan was, wait for Sage to make contact. The minute you hear Sage shoot, you pop your ultimate, you throw up your wall, and you push in. The enemy's going to be so confused on where to look, and you could probably get a lot of free kills here.
I don't know.
But yeah, you played that kind of bad. Actually, a lot bad.
Let's go.
Yeah. I think I'm going to end it here. The video is already going on to 20 minutes right now. Your Jet got killed from that same corner. Like, that race is played up close with a shorty or a judge. Be main so many times and punishing your team for it. It's crazy.
Bro, see why he's making noise.
I mean, that's kind of fine that your Sage made noise, right? Because he hears him in tube.
Why is he making noise?
It's fine that he made noise because you know the Jet jumped up and the Jet doesn't know you're here. So this might actually work in your favor, but your crosshair placement is terrible. You have to flick up so far vertically to hit this dude. Let's actually take a look at what happened here. Okay, you hear dash updraft. What does that mean? He's probably on tube right now. And your Jet is, or your Sage is making a lot of noise right now. And the Jet does not expect you here. You should not be mad. You should be thankful. If I were you, I'd be happy. I'd be like, oh, hell yeah. The Jet's going to be looking down, maybe looking at the bottom of the tube, hearing Sage, and I can peek for free and get a kill.
What?
Your crosshair placement should be way up here, where my mouse is
Why
currently.
is he making noise?
You shouldn't be complaining. You should be happy. And if your crosshair placement was better, look at where the Jet is looking. The Jet is looking like, I don't even know where he's looking. If you have better crosshair placement, boom, free kill. Right here, dead already. Instead, you complained, your crosshair placement was really low, and your Sage made a distraction.
Bro, see.
You were just mad at your Sage for no reason. You should have been happy.
You need to play.
Nobody wants to take the fight. Nice.
Yeah, and
Spike down.
I know
Attackers won.
none of your team wants to take the spike, but just give it to Sage and tell him
Take the
to,
spike.
you know.
Player stand. Last round.
And then you had a disconnect. So I'm gonna end it here and just give a recap for you. I want you to watch Cryo and look at how he clears every corner. He's very smooth, very methodical. His movement is perfect. I want you to emulate that. I want you to, when you're pushing as entry, I want you to be clearing corners so that what happened to you when the Rays killed you doesn't happen to your team when you don't clear corners properly. I want you to be using your utility every round on your buy rounds. I want you to use all of it. And also look up professional neon players or whatever you call it, and look at how they can dissect a site using all of their utility. And I think if you do that with how your mechanics are right now in terms of aim, I think you could hit Immortal. You just need to learn kind of better strategy and proper clearing of a site, and also using your utility. Because overall, I feel like your mechanics are pretty good. I mean, you were like top frag, right? It's just you kind of are clouded in your judgment. You're kind of complaining and blaming your team. No, you should be trying to utilize your team however way you can. And, you know, like I said with the Sage clip earlier, you were mad at her. If you had proper crosshair placement, you would have just killed the Jet for free because the Jet isn't looking anywhere near you. And he's like hearing the Sage. That's a good example of what I'm talking about blaming your team. Don't do that. But I hope this VOD helped you. And if you're somebody who wants to get their VOD reviewed as well, go ahead and go to my Discord in the description. And then in the VOD section, post your VOD and then put your rank, your role, whatever. Put all that stuff in the VOD review section, and then I'll get to watching your VOD and trying to review it and helping all of you aspiring high immortal players or maybe even radiant players to, you know, reach their full potential. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm out.
Please never